Okay, this is number 8 in the Foundational Nutrition series. We're talking about heart failure. Okay, and a lot of this stuff is backed by research. There's more research in natural health care than the medical profession would have you believe. And I want you to think of this as one way of doing things, not the only way of doing things. Although we're going to talk about CoQ10 and heart failure, and I don't see any way around using that. If you have an extensive background, hopefully this will give you context and a background. This is not for lay people. Please, if you're a lay person, okay, get it for information, but find somebody to help you. There's a lot of information that I'm assuming that the person watching this already knows. Also, I'll talk about Zorex a lot, and one of the main reasons is they're not found on Amazon. They only sell to professionals, and they'll keep you lay people from treating yourselves. Lark Lands was a good friend and a knowledgeable lady. Knew more about nutrition than most people. She said the key to treating heart failure is to give as much CoQ10 as the patient can afford, and that's about it in a nutshell. I could almost stop the tape here. In the 2000 teens, a panic set into the healthcare system because so many people were having heart failure, and it was becoming a problem because heart failure patients, they'd go to the hospital and then they'd have to be readmitted. Medicare created all kind of rules about readmitting patients, and they really wanted to know what to do about heart failure. It had gone up considerably. And what no one seemed to notice was that the use of statins in about 2008, 2009 increased by 197%. So the number of people taking statins increased, and then a few years later, oh my God, we started having a lot of heart failure. And the thing that everyone forgets is that statins prevent the body from making CoQ10. So if you know the transitive property in mathematics, A equals B, B equals C, and therefore A equals C, doesn't happen in medicine. Okay, A equals B is, we know that CoQ10 stops being produced when you take a statin. Okay, B equals C. Low CoQ10 levels are linked to heart failure. Okay, but they can't come up with A equals C, which means taking a lot of taking statins creates heart failure. And it's statin. It's a $25 billion a year industry, and the interesting thing about it is, 100 people have to be on statins for you to prevent one heart attack. The effect on the death rate is negligible. The effect on heart attacks are negligible. So this study, they gave 420 patients 100 milligrams of CoQ10 3 times a day, and it created a drastic decrease in cardiovascular death compared to the placebo group. And this is only one study. I have footnoted some other studies. CoQ10 has been extensively studied for heart failure. So the results of the study show that CoQ10 supplementation reduced the number of deaths. It reduced the number of unplanned hospitalizations. The New York Heart Association rates heart failure from 1 to 4, 1 being asymptomatic, 4 being, severe symptoms. And they even had one patient go from class 4 to class 1, and many of them did improve at least by one class. So CoQ10 works. D-ribose is a pentose sugar that plays a role in the production of energy intermediates, also DNA and RNA. And heart cells use a lot of energy, and this stuff has been studied and found to be useful for heart failure patients also. So in animal studies, they find that ribose normalized depressed heart function. One study that was interesting, they gave rats heart attacks, and in one group, they gave them an infusion, an IV infusion of D-ribose, and found that after the heart attack was induced, the the group that got the ribose had a smaller area of infarction. Okay, ribose supplementation improves ischemic threshold and enhances function in congestive heart failure. And one study found it improved quality of life. Okay, so the Weber scale, a little different than the NYHA scale. This is a little more precise. They actually measure how much oxygen the patient is using at peak exercise. And, it goes through 1 through 4. In this study, they gave them three, 5 grams of ribose 3 times a day, and they found that they actually improved their exercise capacity. Most heart failure patients are given diuretics, and diuretics deplete thiamine. Actually, most cardiac medication depletes thiamine. And we tend not to believe in thiamine deficiency in this country because we put it in our junk food. But the RDA of thiamine is so low, it's like 1.5 milligrams a day, that when they actually test for thiamine deficiency, they find a lot of it. They find it in people with dementia. They find it in people with depression. People that are stressed out. They burn through thiamine. So there's a lot more thiamine deficiency than is generally believed. And in this one study, they found 23 patients with congestive heart failure that were taking diuretics, and found 21 of them were thiamine deficient. So they actually tested, does thiamine help people with heart failure? So this is a small study, 30 patients with severe congestive heart failure who were on diuretics, a double-blind study. They were given IV thiamine, 200 milligrams a day, which is a pretty good dose. And they found that they can improve the left ventricular ejection fraction in 27 patients. Imagine if they'd combine that with some CoQ10. Another nutrient depleted by cardiac medication is magnesium. Mineral orotates have been studied and found to be more cardioprotective than other forms of the mineral. So magnesium orotate is the choice for cardiac problems. Orotates make it through the cell membrane easier than other mineral forms. And here's a study where survival rate in heart failure patients was increased just by adding magnesium orotate. Orotate salts are more electrically neutral than other mineral salts and therefore more lipophilic, making them easier to be transported into the cell membrane. And they've been studied and found to be cardioprotective even without magnesium. So try this. Use the roadmap to health. The anti-inflammatory diet does so many good things that you can't enumerate. And as a starting point, give CoQ10 100 milligrams 3 times a day. That's what they used in the study. You can, of course, increase it. Fortunately, Zorix does not make CoQ10. If you're a layperson watching this, don't just wander into a Walmart and buy CoQ10. The New York Attorney General has found there's a lot of fraud in this industry, so that's why a professional should choose the type of CoQ10 that you use. Power Pill is a Zorex product designed for cellular energy, and the featuring that it has here is over 180 milligrams of thiamine. It also has some CoQ10 and some other things in it, so that's a useful supplement. You're getting your thiamine need minimally there. And then magnesium orotate to ball tolerance. I've talked about this before. You take it the very last thing at night because you don't want magnesium will bind to fats in the diet, so you want an empty stomach, and gradually increase it. If you get soft stools, you're taking too much. You need to back off. Also, I would say if there's kidney problems, kidney issues, you don't want a high dose magnesium. This is another reason why lay people don't do this yourself. Okay, thank you. If you need any help, there's my email, paulgvarnas@gmail.com, zorixinternational.com, and their number is 800-679-3027. And if you use the code PV10, if you order from Zorix, they'll give you free shipping on your first order. Our next topic will be airborne allergies. I hope to see you there.